I have just written some notes, some notations, just on a small piece of paper here I'm holding in my hands during this study of the prayer that Jesus taught us to pray. And I wrote down some basic things beginning in verse number 11 of chapter 6 of the book of Matthew. Jesus talks about the daily bread. He talks about the debts and the debtors. He mentions temptations and then deliverance from evil. Now, I see these things and how they all relate, because the reality is that we are taught in Scripture that there are three root sins: lust of the eye, lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and how easy it is for the human body, or the human emotion, the carnal man, to fall prey to putting these things as things that we would worry, that we would stress over, that they would become something that literally we would be obsessed with. Whereas Scripture teaches us about the rest of God, where we come to a place to where our spiritual person that's within us is leading the way, because our spiritual person is in connection with the Spirit of God. And we've learned how to flow with this. In other words, we put our trust and our dependency on God. We don't look to the carnal things. We don't look to people, oh, so-and-so owes me a certain amount of money, and when I get that money, everything will be okay. No, we're not trusting in that. We're trusting in the true and the living God. But you see, the Bible teaches us about the harmony of this. And the harmony is simply taught in the spirit of generosity. In other words, the Bible teaches us not to hold on to all the tangible things of this life. And it teaches us about how temporary these things are. They're fleeting. They're not going to last forever. And the only thing that truly lasts is what we invest in the spiritual world. And this is where Jesus talks about laying it up in heaven where rust and moth and dust does not destroy. All of that has to do with the harmony of the relationship that we have with God and our trust in Him, to where we don't find ourselves stressing over the daily bread or the debts. We find ourselves concerned about the spiritual relationship that we have with God. So as we come to Him in prayer, we're just coming to reinforce all of that. Just to reinforce the relationship that we have with our spiritual Father, and the connection that we have, and the word that becomes, I believe, key here is trust. Just learning how to trust. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.